This podcast contains adult language, descriptions of violence, sexual references, and other possibly offensive themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Previously on Back to the Story.
It's good to be home. These are all friends of the Willows.
The ember light of your soul was swept up behind this raven as it...
Send me to Soul.
You remember that first question that you asked. All the others had an explicit answer. That one was left unanswered. Not a no or a yes. Not a no.
I didn't think about it before. My leader may be able to get us to Namanet.
Happy episode 41?
Yeah, 41.
So, picking back up, as you've just finished your Speak with Dead upon Kalvyn, that first question unanswered ringing in your ears as the last bit of his breath is exhaled. What would you like to do?
Okay, so what it sounded like, he wants... We can try and bring him back, but he wants a cleric. He doesn't want to do this reincarnation. I think we have to go to Namanet, and he'll have a choice there. And if he chooses to stay and not come back, we'll give him a proper funeral.
We have to at least try.
Does someone want to find Ezekiel?
I can try and do that. And try and find him. Let him know what's going on.
I'll go with you.
Oh, I was going to say I would go with him. I mean...
I can see her a million ball.
It doesn't take you all long to track down Ezekiel. Being sort of outsiders, you can ask around. Eventually, Ezekiel, you hear word from one of the other followers that the Scales are requesting you return after you've finished informing the loved ones of the people you lost.
I'll circle back to him.
Circling back, you find them resting by the creek, Kalvyn in the wagon.
As soon as he's back, as soon as I see him, I go to him and give him a hug and burst into tears again.
Just hold her for as long as she needs.
So Ezekiel?
Yes.
We received a few answers, but not as many as we were hoping. I think we're planning to go to Namanet and giving Kalvyn the choice through a proper ritual. I know that you needed to get here as soon as possible, but how much more do you think you need to do here?
I would hope to stay for a bit, but I understand that this is important.
We've got 10 days with gentle repose, and I can cast it again after that if it needs to be.
No, I don't want you all to wait on me. If you can give me the night, I'd appreciate that, and we can leave tomorrow.
Yeah, I think we need a little bit of a rest for tonight anyways. It's been a long day.
I know, I had questions I wanted to ask here, but they can wait.
Well, we tend to work through the night. We are children of the moon, after all. If you have questions, there are people around to answer. I'll have to try and get some business done myself. I need to explain my journey and talk to my Mother Willow for a bit. But as long as you obey the primary rules of this grove, which is don't hurt nothing. Every beast or creature is safe within this circle. And if you break that, you will be punished, and there is not much I can do for you. But please, go look around, explore. I hope one day to bring you back here so you can really enjoy it under better circumstances, but for tonight, just enjoy.
Thank you, Ezekiel, and we'll have to thank your Mother Willow for her hospitality.
So, I know what Ezekiel needs to accomplish tonight. He wants to gather the majority of the people, anyone who isn't, watching guard. And he wants to tell the story of his travels since then. And then I just need a, one-on-one conversation with Mother Willow to figure things out.
Okay. So over the rest of the day, you guys are led to areas of rest. As you kind of travel through the grove, you see sections of it where people are practicing trying to grow plants. You see a few others that transform into squirrels or birds, frolicking upon the bushes and running along the roots of the great trees. So others just sleeping their day away, others drinking ciders and beer fermented from fruits. And as the day passes, whether you find rest or sleep or engage in any other activity, if you want to do anything, please let me know. Otherwise, the day goes by.
I'll probably want to pull Amson aside at some point. But
I think Ball wants to do something for the night, like at night, but not during the day.
Okay.
And I actually have someone I want to introduce Vesper to.
okay.
Okay, so which one's first? Of the day stuff, I suppose.
I'll go on a blind date. Let's do it.
All right. I'll call Vesper over at some point. Vesper, this is Winslow. Now, I can't help but notice for the past few weeks, every time I'm out tracking or finding the path or looking at plants, you're right there, hovering behind me.
Sorry, I'm just learn, we're out in nature so often. And as an alchemist, I figured I'd better get used to it. Get to know it better.
And that is admirable, as it is also annoying. This man taught me everything I know. If there is anything that you can learn from me, he can probably teach you in half the time.
I greatly appreciate that, thank you. Nice to meet you. I'm Vesper.
And Ezekiel, go ahead and describe Winslow for me.
I'm envisioning actually older gentleman, human, not terribly old, but maybe like 40s. Very much a hunter, I would say. Bow across his back, ranger archetype kind of guy.
Okay. So standing there before you, see this person in furs and a bit of leathers with a bow on his back. Gruff beard, hair pulled back into a ponytail to keep it from falling in his face as he moves. A few strands falling loose. Pleasure. As he raises his hand to shake yours.
I shake.
So what do you need to know?
Well, I am mostly interested in, I guess, plants more than anything. Their properties and they can be used for, and I guess a bit of tracking and navigation. Mostly the plants.
Well, let's start with this. Follow me. And he kind of leads you on through the forest, pointing to various plants, asking you what they are, what they can be used for. Go ahead and give me either an herbalism or an alchemy check. I can't remember which one you have.
Definitely be alchemy.
Okay.
Natural 20.
He starts, and you can see him too. He goes towards the easy plants first. A simple numbing agent. Another simple one that can help to stop coughing. Very basic stuff. And as you answer those basic ones correct, he moves on into an area that looks like it's designed to grow herbs. No pots, but just free on the ground. But you do see more particular plants. And yet every single one of them you're able to name. And with each correct answer, his eyebrows raise further, impressed. So you know your stuff. Let's try this. There's a whistle and a little squirrel. And you see him, shalaf. Says something in another language as the squirrel heads off into the woods. Go ahead and give me a survival check as he points.
Oh, God. How much less good it does? 13.
Okay. You kind of watch it tracking. You can see the leaves kind of pushed to the side and track it for maybe about 50 yards before you start to lose it. Squirrels don't leave heavy tracks. He kind of kneels down where you lost the trail, and then he kind of nods his head, and you can see an area where the squirrel started leaping, jumping, and then he looks up.
I follow his gaze.
As you see the squirrel running along the boughs once more. To track, you sometimes have to know what you're tracking. Does it run? Does it leap? Does it climb? Does it swim? You understand?
I do.
And the next thing you're going to learn, and he kind of, throughout the day, or for a few hours of the day, Vesper. He kind of goes around teaching you various things about tracking and herbalism, other basic alchemy and herbalism traits, and he goes into a little bit of druidic rites a little bit. You can tell he's trying to pull you in that direction to see if you'd be interested. He doesn't push it hard, but he does bring it up.
I think she'd be open-minded about it. She'd try.
Yeah.
She gets ritual and stuff like that, so.
Okay. So what you get from that is he gives you some information about a Sigma. And you know a little bit as a deity, but he kind of gives you a little bit more of the detail that maybe you're not aware of. But eventually you're kind of brought back to the group. So we're hanging about. And I think you want to talk to Amson. Did we want to move into night, or is there someone else that want to act first? That way
I also had something I wanted to do.
Sure.
After I've had a chance to compose myself a little, I'd like to ask Ezekiel. So, when we talked about your grove before, you mentioned, I asked you if you knew if there was a Waystone here. Do you know of somebody who would know more about that?
God?
Mother Willow would be the one who would know.
I can take you to her.
Thank you. I've been thinking for a while now that maybe if I understood Waystones and how they work, maybe that could help me understand how I work.
No, I'm actually glad you reminded me, because I had my vision over my map while I was reading that book about the Waystones, so they may be connected to whatever I have to do as well, so I need to talk to her anyway. And it'd be nice for you two to talk.
Yeah. Is there any, etiquette that I should know about?
We're really not that formal.
Okay.
She has an air about her, but that's just because, well, she's ascended to a different level.
I've never really been much for nature. I've always been kind of a city girl, I guess. But it's nice to be here, and I kind of want to understand what it is that you like so much about it.
Oh, I wish we had more time. I guarantee, week here, you'll never want to go back to a city again.
Well, maybe when we have a chance, under better circumstances, we can spend a little more time here.
I'd like that. Come, let's go talk to Mother Willow.
Okay.
Ezekiel, you lead her back towards the central ring, towards the moonlight bones, the columns in the air. The fog, you speak the words again, the fog clearing, the ash tree guardian stepping aside, the thorns forming into benches and beds once more. You can smell tea brewing in the air as you walk in, the open sky above. At first you don't see her, and after a moment or two you hear leaping over bushes. You see a large elk, who you know as Heslas, awoken, with Mother Willow riding atop. The elk skids to a stop as Willow slides off, smiling. Back again?
Yes. I have a few things to ask you. First and foremost, you had mentioned you might have a way to get us to or close to Nominet.
That I can do.
I believe my friends hope to take you up on that offer tomorrow.
It can be done. I have a friend there who can help guide you as well.
I would appreciate that.
Tea?
Of course.
She moves over, and there's small stumps of smaller trees where warm water rises, dark teed liquid brewed. She pours it into small bowls from shelled gourds that have been hollowed out, sipping it. It's warm.
Kalvyn really likes tea.
I'll just pat her on the arm.
I am sorry for your loss, and I do hope I can help. For what do I owe the pleasure?
I'm not really sure how to ask what I want to ask. See, in talking to Ezekiel about various things, the topic of Waystones has come up, and I was wondering if there is a Waystone here.
In a way, she puts her hand upon the largest central column. Not like what you speak of, though. Those Waystones are remnants of gods upon this Noah. Shards of that divinity remain, where power is magnetized and held. There's a little bit of that here. A little bit of life from a Athena. But not like the lost Waystones you speak of, the ones people tell stories of. You're not far from one, though.
No?
You might see one tomorrow.
In 9 minutes?
She nods and smiles. The greatest of the Waystones. Not just one god, but all of them. No, the ones that saved this Noah.
I've read a little bit about Waystones, though I'm not real great with books.
I'm not either. It's been around a while.
I've read that each one is associated with one of the star signs.
She nods. From what I can tell, I think that's true. She looks towards Ezekiel. The stars have been changing. Not sure what that means yet.
I kind of glance at Ezekiel and then back at her. Yeah, there's something weird going on with the stars.
There might be something weird going on with a lot. I'll bring out my stone map thingy. You remember this is what I found right before I left.
Yeah. Have you figured out how to read it?
Not exactly, but I was reading a book about these Waystones, and I had visions. I think some of the markings are connected to them in some way. I just don't know how to read it.
She kind of traces her fingers along the markings on the stone. Was this your guardian that sent you these visions?
She may have. It didn't. She usually makes her presence known, but she didn't when she sent me those, if she did.
Could be something else. What? I'm not so sure.
I wonder if maybe you would have some insight into something that happened when we were on our way here.
She looks towards you, expecting.
When we were crossing the sea, we had a visitor, an angel of some sort. I'm still not entirely sure what she wanted, but she wanted something with me.
I can't say I've seen that before, but tell you what, when we go to Naminet tomorrow, I'll talk to my friends, old though they may be, and see if they've heard anything like that, and see if they know what's going on with the stars. See if I might get some intel.
This angel, she seemed to be associated with the stars.
See.
The stars on the horizon changed when she came. She seemed to come from them. But we don't really know who sent her or what she wanted, except apparently she didn't find what she wanted.
I'll ask. And
thank you.
Whatever I find out, I'll bring it to you. She looks back at Ezekiel.
I have to go with them, Willow. I can't explain why, but I do.
You don't have to explain anything to me.
I know. I just miss you. Miss all of you.
Miss you too. And she hugs you again. Warm.
Well, I know you're busy, so I'll let you get back to it, but we'll come find you tomorrow. And thank you.
I'll be ready. And as you guys walk off, leaving her to walk around the grove, to experience it, to rest. The day fades as the night begins to come again. I think Ball and then Ezekiel wanted to do something.
Yeah, do you want to go first, Ezekiel, or do you want me to go first?
I can. I don't think I need to go in very detailed in mine. I just want to gather kind of whoever in the grove that I can up by a pond somewhere in the circle, and I'll just go through the story from when I left the grove with my companions, then traveling across the sea to what happened at the grove in Severwind, meeting the Bronze Scales, crap, I'm blanking on the name because all I'm thinking is Orcesis, but I can't. Valgarith. But as I'm doing the story, I'll use shape water with the pawn and kind of illustrate a little bit, doing simple figures in the water to show the different things, and I'll let them know where I've left the ember stones of the people that I had kind of gathered in remembrance of them, but just bring them up to date on my story and let them know that I have to continue searching.
And as you tell the story, you see some of the wardens and druids kind of grow flowers as you tell them about the ember stones, just sort of in remembrance to their friends lost. Well,
Is it when Ezekiel tells a story? Is it open to everybody? Like, I mean, are the Bronze Scales kind of listening in on it as well?
Yeah. You would have seen everybody gathering up. So yeah.
All right. And then I imagine, I guess, kind of like when it's time to kind of settle in for the night, when it seems like, I guess the area has kind of wound down and there isn't as many people moving up and about. Ball's going to go over to Kalvyn's body and find his the spear that, like, Kalvyn's spear that was left with him, and kind of borrow that. And he's going to walk out and just kind of look for a place a little bit further away from the encampment to kind of just have some time to himself. And assuming no objections there, then you just kind of see him like it's dark, right? So you can't really see him, but he's found somewhere to sit on, whether it be like a log or some kind of stone. Just kind of like gripping the spear in front of him, kind of with the butt end of the spear in the dirt below him. And it's very quiet and just and pitch black, and just after a little bit you just kind of see flashes of bright light like underneath his eyes. And when you kind of look closer, you can see that there's tears rolling down his cheek, and just as they start to kind of fully form, they kind of just like burn up and disappear. And then he just kind of stays there for a little bit. And after he's had some time there, he stands up, grabs the spear, and says to the spear, "Until we meet again, brother." And then he's gonna head back to the encampment and go to bed after leaving the spear back with Kalvyn.
Okay.
As the night kind of winds down, I think Vesper will find Amson before we go to bed.
Hey.
I'm really sorry.
But what?
That I couldn't do what I'm supposed to do. I know you don't blame me, but I know Kalvyn was your brother. And I'm really sorry.
I don't blame you. Honestly, I don't think it's your fault at all.
I had a question actually earlier. I thought maybe I remembered something when we were talking, Ballin, about Kalvyn. That song that keeps getting stuck in my head. You didn't want to tell me about it. Was it from when Ball and I?
Yeah. That was, is what I offered to bring you back.
Thank you for bringing me back.
Don't worry about it. Glad you are, but I don't feel entirely responsible for that.
I don't know how to say this where it's not going to sound really weird.
I mean, you know me, I can take it.
It's just been a hard couple of days. Can I crash in your room?
Sure.
I just don't wanna... I don't really feel like being alone right now, and...
Yeah, that's not a problem at all.
You told me to tell you if I ever needed you, so... I need you.
And I'm here.
Can I give his hand a squeeze? Just reach out and take it gently for a second.
Yeah.
And then I go to bed.
Okay. So
and that's all we do!
have these talks in these no walls, no roof. There's moss upon some of these stone pillars that have grown out of the earth like ribs that glow slightly, giving a faint, dim glow to the entire area. You're shown to various places, beds of soft grass where you can rest, lay your head upon a light bed of flowers and lilies, finding what privacy you seek with Amson and Vesper together. And as the night fades and sleep comes, just sleeping, supposedly, the next morning greets you.
Can I do
birds chirping. Oh, I'm sorry. No.
Sorry.
Melly had to do something. Sorry. No. That's my fault. I forgot. What is it?
Once everyone's asleep, I'm gonna go over to Kalvyn's body and just gonna brush the hair out of his eyes, and I'm just gonna say thank you for rescuing me, and I love you too. So I always kiss him on the cheek and then I leave.
With that, you each finding rest. The morning comes, the dawn first. You hear birds chirping, animals running, scurrying along the ground and along the trees. Wind gently blowing cool wind, raising you to the next day. Ezekiel, a bobcat, comes from the bushes, coming to you, forms back into the figure of Dane, who stands there, more businesslike than any of the others in the grove. He smiles. Well, she's ready when you are.
Good. I'm actually glad I ran into you, Dane. I will reach into my pouch and hand him 200 gold. That should restock the coffers of what I took. I think I'll be fine on my own from here on out.
Thank you. In nature, we don't need all this, do we?
Yeah, but you know it comes in handy when we do need it. Just keep it tucked away.
He slides it away.
There's also one favor I want to ask.
Yes, Ezekiel?
Can you look in on Briarbridge? There's something strange going on about the wild hunt. It seems unnatural. I wanted to look into it, but I have to move on.
Well, I'll send some wardens to investigate.
Just scout. Someone can get in touch with me if there's something really wrong, but I just don't want to leave them unattended.
I'll whistle you once I know more.
Thank you.
He nods.
Better go grab my friends. He will wave goodbye to whoever he spent the night with, and go find the scales.
Okay, the two others wave back to you as you return towards the group of scales, resting somewhere near probably the wagon with Kalvyn.
Hey, everybody. She's ready to go if you are.
I think we're probably as ready as we're going to be. We should send a message to Orizana to let her know what we're doing.
Right. Who knows how long we'll be there before we get after her.
I really did want to bring her here.
Maybe
someone go and bring her.
Yeah, I'm sending Dane that way anyway. I'll see if I can give him a little information about her, see if she wants to take a trip, and see.
Or if not that, then we could still come back here later on and bring her then.
I hope so.
Oh, I wanted to ask her something.
I can send a message if we need to.
It can wait. It's just something I need to know before we go home. And I think it would be better if I ask her one-on-one.
Well, hopefully we'll return soon.
You go find Willow?
Yes.
Okay. Leading back towards the center, parting through the fog, you find Mother Willow there. She has a few flowers in her hand. All right. I can't, unfortunately, take the wagon, but so someone's going to have to carry him. Please, this way. She walks out of the circle a bit to a tree. She knocks upon it. Druidic runes ignite briefly before going dim again as the tree awakens, looking down at her. I'm going to need you one more time. You ready? The tree nods. She turns back to you all. Are you ready?
We nod.
She holds her hand out for Ezekiel. Take each other's hands. Don't let go. And as you clasp hands, she backs up to the tree, and as she hits it, she begins seeking into it, being pulled into the tree. First her body, then her arm, then Ezekiel was pulled in, and then the rest of you one by one. And while you're in there, you hear this grinding within this blackness, wood surrounding you. And then there's a chill that hits you. A light. As Ezekiel, you see it first, as Mother Willow is pulling you out of the tree, followed by the rest of you one by one, into a forest with snow covering the ground. You can see large roots of trees have formed near small knee-high to waist walls around, forming a small thicket. You see a number of wolves sleeping, laying down, some of them chewing on bones that look up at you. And leaned up against one of the trees, sitting upon one of the large roots, an old man in leathers and robes, a gray beard that comes down to his waist, long gray-white hair strung back, smoking a pipe as a puff of smoke lets out. As Mother Willow steps forward towards him. Titus? He nods. Willow? These are my friends. Kind of leans over, seeing Ezekiel and the rest of you. So, I need a favor. She walks over towards him and begins speaking in druidic. It's hard for Ezekiel to hear, but you can see her discussing, asking, speaking to him. A moment later, he nods and stands up, walking towards you all. So you're going to Imanet. Well, we're in the gold growth now. Where in the city do you want to go?
I think the Temple of Alisol is our first stop.
Yes.
He whistles as the wolves begin to get in line, digging into the snow and pulling upon harnesses that were kind of felled under the snow. A moment later, a sled is pulled out from behind one of the trees as a large team of snow dogs, of wolves, are leading this large sled. All right. Mother Willow speaks up. And, by the way, this is Titus Greysnow, an old friend of mine. I'll ask around some of the keepers here at the Vivis Tree and see what I can find out.
Thank you.
She nods before she forms into a bird, a white dove that flies off. All right. You ready? As he kind of nods towards Kalvyn, who's being carried. Loads him up upon the sled. I can't carry all of you, but I'll lead the way. It's not far. He whistles again as the wolves pull the sled, gliding upon the snow, slow enough to where the rest of you can keep up, leading you through this forest. There's snow on the ground and it's cool, yet surprisingly a lot of growth here. For a tundra environment, there are trees, there are even flowers poking out of the snow. Those casters of divine magic you feel empowered here. You feel closer to that power than you've ever felt before. You gain 1 extra spell slot of your second highest level you can cast. For the next couple hours, y'all travel through this old growth forest. Large trees, you see thickets of people growing herbs and crops. You see animals, you see hunters moving and coming and going. Eventually, you move on to next to a trail that's been cleared of snow, but he rides along the side of it. And in the distance, you see a city. Great walls, 60 feet high, of white stone. You see peaks sprouting throughout the city. You see a mountain peak beyond, on the edge of the city to the north, massive, rising into the air. You see smokestacks coming up, and a large lighthouse, a beacon, burning bright, even during the day. He rides up to the gates, open. You see this first section fortified heavily. You see guards wearing symbols emblazoned of the wolf, of the god of war, who nod, watching, ever vigilant. Massive ballistica, entrenchments, moats, as you pass through the fortified section of the city, guarding its outer ring. Once inside the city a bit, he pulls over towards the stables. There's not enough snow for the rest of the way, but I can point you to it. It's easy to find. As he points towards the large lighthouse-like beacon, the smokestacks billowing up around.
Thank you. I'll take it from here.
Good luck. He nods as he begins to turn, after you remove Kalvyn, begins to turn the sled around, heading back to the old growth, leaving you in the city of Nyminette. You see walls of white stone, intricately carved, as if by masterwork crafters. But these walls are ancient, yet unchipped. You see the light above shining down upon this place. And you feel the energy here like none other.
Amson's gonna just nudge Vesper and be like, "Oh, look at that, you made it."
Yeah, we all did. Well, we're all here.
Let's bring this guy back.
To the Temple of All.
Okay. As you move through the city, you pass through the designation that you come to know from signs carved as the Halls of Valor. As you see the fortified section of the city, you see statues built of Wolfrath, massive, 30 feet high, and of wolves. You see, traveling as you exit this district, a wall of war stones stacked on top of each other. Traveling through, you see the standard shrines of Voltameri, the lightning rod-like peaks of those shrines. You see in this section as you move through travelers of all types wearing cloaks. You can even see small clouds that flow through here, and the wind is turbulent here, whipping your hair and cloaks around. Traveling further, you go through another set of inner gates where you see a quiet place. You see medics and hospitals. You see healers. You see the wounded of Wolfrath being tended to, the symbols of Ayaim. You see flying above. You see watchers upon griffins guarding the city. Finally, you move into the district for Valisol, known as the Lustrous Citadel. You see numerous forges making armor and weapons, pieces of art. You see murals painted upon walls of beautiful vistas. You see sculptures of stone and of metal, craftsmen and forgers. You see guards here wearing gleaming armor, with a cape with the golden sun upon their back, similar to what Kalvyn wears, as you move towards the large citadel. You see it rises up nearly 200 feet into the air, and here you see the steps are large, as if made for creatures beyond humanoids. It takes time to lift your legs upon these stairs, carrying Kalvyn. You see the temple was built from stone but decorated with golden images of the sun with the 8 spears surrounding it. You see the guards armed with their spears, shining golden polished shields, again with the 8 spears surrounding it, the rays of sun. As you near the temple, you see the doors open. You see the sun streaming through the center with its glass dome at the top, letting the sunlight stream through the beacon and down towards the floor in the center. You see the light is refracted inside this temple, reflecting off the stone as if it were a mirror. Your eyes have to adjust to the brightness in this place of this golden light as you carry Kalvyn through.
Kalvyn is going to love this place when he sees it.
There are definitely worse places to wake up.
You see numerous followers, some in simpler robes, others in armor, going about their business. Some turn their eyes towards you.
Can we see a priest, please?
You see a female human wearing armor. You see on her side a mining pick that's been cast in gold. She's maybe 50, maybe a little older. She comes up. Yeah, I can lead you to him. Named Sarah. She kind of looks over at Kalvyn, who's being carried. All right, this is the place. I've seen it before. She's kind of knowing what you're here for, leading you towards the center. Wait here. She leaves and a few moments pass. You see a female human who returns. She has very light brown eyes, hazel. Her hair is black with a widow's peak that rises back. She's wearing bright armor. And she's fairly young, younger than you expected for a priest. This soul beacon, Valora. As she kind of gestures, nods, as the soul beacon steps forth. You can see she has dark tan skin with a spear at her side that she uses to walk with. A similar white cape upon her back with a golden sun. Children, how can I be of service?
Our friend was a devoted follower of Alasol, and he fell in battle. Can you help him?
She moves over towards him, brushes his hair out of his face to get a look at him. We can proposition Valosol and see how the light judges him. Come. She leads you towards the center of the room, where there's a circular altar in a depiction of the sun in the very center as the light shines down upon. Place him here. As you place him down and arrange him gently. And that, she gestures at the spear, is at his arm.
This is his weapon?
Place it in his hand.
Vesper will take the dagger that she keeps on her hip at all times and offer it and go, this is the first thing he ever forged. I feel like it might be appropriate.
Good. Place it in his other hand. I will prepare for this. She takes a few minutes and she brings a forger's hammer that she places. She brings gleaming fire salt that she puts beside him. She takes a shield off her back and puts it next to him. And she looks up towards the noon sun shining down, yellow and gold and orange lights refracting in this place. We will petition the Solars for judgment. She raises her hands up, her spear pointing towards the sky, as a ray of light comes down from the ceiling, from the glass dome, hitting into her spear. As she places it between Kalvyn's feet, the light refracting, glowing upon him. You see the wounds that have been stopped, beginning to scar over, shine, drawing in the light. And the donation, the cost.
I will take out the two, what do we call them, fire blooms or something? Bloom heart of the red orchid, and I will produce those.
Okay. She removes the copper coins from his eyes, taking the bloom hearts and holding them aloft. Petition him as I petition the Solas, as she lifts the flowers up, presenting them to the sun. Do you know his tenets? His oath, his glory and honor?
Did we? Did he never actually tell us?
I don't think he actually told you. So be it.
I don't entirely understand, but if it helps, he was a smith.
A smith. We will see what the Sunmaker decides. Speak your peace. As she turns her face alight towards the sun, beaming down, we will do a resurrection ritual. Up to 3 of you can present some sort of offering, making a skill check to determine the final DC for the resurrection roll. And then Kalvyn will decide.
I maybe have something I could offer, but I look at Amson and at Melly. I want to give other people a chance first.
Hey, Melly, you want to start us off?
Yeah. I'm going to go first.
Alright. I'll go first. So Amson's going to, in true old-timey bard fashion, strike a chord on his lute and then put it away as he speaks. And he's going to say, Kalvyn, I would like to tell you a story. Once upon a time, there were 2 brothers. One was fast, the other was strong. One was witty, the other was honest. One always had the spotlight upon him, and the other never left his side. The first brother would always tell stories of heroes, of giants, of dragons, of villains, of great and wonderful and terrible things. And the brother would always want to be like the people in his stories. When the first son of kindness, the second one was kind. When the first son of generosity, the second one was generous. When the first son of holiness, the second one was holy. When the first son of sacrifice, well, the second made a choice. But what the second brother never knew was the first brother was just singing about his second brother. Kalvyn, I sing your stories. You're the hero in every one of them. And, there's nothing greater than a hero to sacrifice himself for his friends, so you proved your point, you're a hero, you can come back now. Just come back and be our hero again. And to finish off his song, he strikes another chord on his lute and puts it away.
And as that last chord rings out, make a performance roll.
Sure. It's an okay roll, but I'm going to use luck because I have it and I might as frickin' well. That is not better. So that is a natural 13 plus 9 is 22.
Okay. As the last chord from Amson rings out, who steps up next?
I think I will. I just put my hand on Amson's shoulder for a moment before I go up. And the first thing I say is, Melly was right, though. You shouldn't always have to be the one to sacrifice yourself. And I go into my bag and I take out one of the 2 uncorrupted bronze dragon scales that we were able to find when we were looking for Orcesis. And I place it on his chest. Kalvyn, I've never really put much stock in promises. Pretty words don't always mean much. So, when I suggested that we all get matching scale tattoos, that was my way of showing something that I didn't trust myself to say with words. Fuck. I can say what I mean better in Orcish. And so I switched to Orcish. I didn't suggest the scale as our symbol because of Orcesis. I suggested it because of you. Because you were the one who first brought us together as a group to accomplish something. And you were the one who put yourself in harm's way to protect my little sister and yours, and to protect all of us that day. So, this tattoo, this was my attempt to show you how much that meant to me, and how much it will always mean to me no matter what. Back home, you made us a promise to protect us and to keep us together. And you didn't really need to say it at all, because you already lived up to it, and you still live up to it. You asked us to do the same, but I didn't say anything because I don't believe in promises, and because I kind of had my head up my ass at the time. I may not believe in promises, but I believe in you. So here's this. I promise that I will do everything in my power to protect this family, to protect these friends, and that includes you. So, you need to get your ass back here and help me keep my fucking promise. Do you hear me? You are not done yet. And as I say those last few words, I knock against the scale on his chest with each one, and I step back.
And as you knock upon that scale, make a persuasion check.
I am going to use Tides of Chaos on this to get advantage on this roll.
Okay.
One of those dice is a natural one. The other is a 16, which gives me 19 total.
Okay. And as that scale is placed next to Kalvyn, and the light continues to grow brighter, streaming towards the wounds, who else steps up?
I will step up and say, I don't know if there's much more to be said, because the other two made pretty good points. I do say for myself. But, if you don't come back, who is gonna catch me when I jump off cliff? I don't think Vesper would be too happy with me if I landed on her. Who's gonna save me when I get caught by bugbear? And who is gonna make us smile even when we're sad? And I love you, because you died before I got to say that. Please come back so I can say that to your face. That's it.
Make a persuasion roll as well.
Can I cast Enhanced Ability on Millie and give her advantage?
Yeah.
I think it's Eagle Splendor.
As Ellie steps forth to say this, you put your hand on her shoulders. The air lightening around you, Millie, as you speak. Go ahead and roll at advantage here.
I rolled a 13.
If y'all would give me just a couple moments here, I'm gonna, if y'all either mute or take your earbuds out, and then we'll see what happens. So just Michael here. And, Michael, you let me know when you can hear. Okay. So, being pulled along this shard of light, being pulled by this raven into the blackness, pushing into shadow thick that feels like liquid before you see a broken sky, shattered, jagged. You see cliff sides. You see ruins far on the ground. Still it continues through this land of fallen shadows, drifting and pushing forth once more. But not shadow this time, but smoke. Thick. The smell of sulfur in the air as it passes through. As you see burning hellfire, the landscape below. Still flying. You see ruins and fields of battle. You see mountains with great infernal prisons passing through further and further until you see a tower of red rising. You see winged leather bat wings flying about with halos of fire and horns rising into the air. You need not press your senses to know that fiends fly all around you. They seem not to notice you as you're pulled further by the raven towards fortification, massive and dark stone, layer after layer of it ruined as battles fought over millennia. You come to a gate of Armageddon itself, flying through like smoke through the cracks. Your stomach turns and churns over as you look down into the bottomless, abyssal void of the black pit. Still it flies. You see floating chunks of rock slowly rotating. You see demons crawling, trying to bite and scar and claw their way out of this pit. And in the distance you see, flying, circling, you see a spire of dark black. You see fiendish runes all upon it. As you get closer, you see a ray of light come through one of the barred windows of this peak, slamming into some of the flying demons, burning them, incinerating them in an instant. The raven lands, and your vision shifts as you suddenly find yourself inside a box of glass, a lantern on the hook of a staff. You see the raven is transformed in a billow of flying feathers and smoke into a man, hooded, his face unseen, as he walks towards a gate you see locked. You see inside, you see a figure, tall, massive, skin dark, eyes a blaze of gold as he looks up. The light from his eyes illuminates the space in this prison. You see ancient golden armor and shin plates and an armored skirt and a spear at his side as he stands up. The raven man who holds you speaks. Edric, I have another one for you. The man in the prison walks forth. You see wings great, shining in gold in this darkness. Behind his back, Umir, another. As he looks down, sorrowful, the man opens up the lantern as you find yourself being drifted, pulled into the prison, where there's a bowl of shining metal full of ashes as you and land atop it. The raven man shifts into a raven once more, and in an instant is gone, leaving you with this large celestial. In the presence of his light, even in this dark place, you find yourself feeling safe. He looks down at the tiny spark of light that is your soul and speaks. I am sorry, child. You will be here with me until I am freed. Then to the Sunmaker. And as he sits down looking sorrowful, you hear voices in your ears. You feel a warmth of light as this dark place dims around you. and you hear the words, the story of Amson. You hear the knocking of the scale and the words of Ellory, and you hear the sweet voice of Melly calling towards you. You see the Solar before you, looks at you, listening. You have a choice, child, one that I do not have.
Is this the part where I interject?
This is, as he looks down towards your shard of light.
Guys didn't really make this easy.
Tell me.
I don't understand. What is this place? Where are we?
Prison. I cast a demonic titan, but it was a trap set by the devils and Lord Seether. The souls of the followers of Alisol go through the eight solars of the Sunmaker, one of which I am. But as I am in prison, so are they, resting in peace until I am freed.
When is that?
Through death or key, as he looks over towards the gate. There's a spike coming out of it on the inside. On the other side, you see a lock. This will free me. As
Where's
he looks
the
towards
key?
the spike.
The spike?
But mine and all of these souls, as he gestures towards the bowl, will be cast into the hell. The key lies with Seether. But this is my burden to bear. You follow the Sunmaker. Tell me, what is your glory?
My glory is to protect.
And your virtue?
My virtue is sacrifice.
He nods as he kneels down to look at you. You see this creature is probably 11 or 12 feet tall. It's hard to say because there's so little to give reference, but he's large. Good. My virtue is of oaths. I am bound to the Sunmaker and to the souls and shards of light that follow him, to you, and to them, as he gestures to the bowl once more.
In the same sense, then, so am I bound to you all, right?
Words, oaths spoken are everything, child. If you say it, so it is.
If I were to get this key, you would be free? The souls would be free?
Yes, all of them.
Is this something I could do?
Not as a spark of light. Your light would fall as your soul rested until its ultimate end. The meeting in hell or with the Sunmaker, you cannot help from here but to return. You can see, as you look around, he's holding his spear loosely, and you can see its massive spear, and inscribed upon it you see words, judgment of the Solar. A shard of light itself, given weapon form.
When Kalvyn heard the voices of his friends, was it like from behind or in his head or like it been projected in front of him?
It felt like it, and it's a weird sensation because it's akin to hearing it in your head, but instead of in your head, because you don't have one, you heard it in your heart or soul, is the nearest approximation you can give it. It came from within you, is the connection to them. And for now, those words are crystal clear. Nothing lost.
I guess then for a second, Kalvyn's view would, I guess, go kind of introspective, kind of glazed over, trying to visualize, I guess, from memory, the faces before he hardens and looks up, says,
I will return. I will find the key.
The Solar stands, and so be it. let me cast judgment upon you. As one of the 8 soul laws of the Sunmaker, as Heretic, I send you forth to walk in the light again. And he thrusts forward his spear towards you. And as he does so, the spear takes form no longer as a weapon of metal, but in a form of light, shining, blazing towards you. The light is blinding. And in that moment, how do I tell everyone else to come back?
Sure, they're chatting away in the chat. I had hoped I would get to test drive a newer model.
Wait, don't give it away. But, Is everyone
What
back?
the hell was happening just then?
That was the end of the blowjob.
Okay, so I think everyone's back,
That
right?
makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. As the soul beacon, Valora raises her spear towards the sky, and the bloom ignites, not into flames but into light, burning away, drifting towards the sky. You see her speak words. Sunmaker, cast your judgment upon this soul, this walker in the light, with his glory and his virtue. What say the soul laws? What say divinity's hammer? What says the dawn breaker? And as she says these words and raises her hands up to the sky, light burns down through the center, cascading upon Kalvyn, flowing through like a liquid wave throughout the temple, refracting and reflecting, nearly blinding you all as you see the wounds of Kalvyn, the shattered leg, giving forth light, burning bright, as if the sun is living within him. And then, darkness. Your eyes adjust as you see all of the light being pulled into Kalvyn. The wounds close. You see the hand twitch and grip upon the spear, and the eyes open, shedding light, burning the sun of the dawn. As Kalvyn breathes in his first breath of this new life.
I mean, I hug him.
And as this happens, and Kalvyn's eyes open once more, and you all cascade jumping down upon him, that's where we're going to go ahead and leave off tonight and come back next session.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Back to the Story. For notifications when an episode goes live, you can find us on Stitcher, Google Play, Player FM, or TuneIn. Download the app and subscribe or favorite us there. We also have a YouTube channel called Back to the Story, an actual play podcast. If you'd like to contact us, you can tweet us at back2_the_story. If you can't fit it into 280 characters, you can email us at thebonfirefables@gmail.com. And if you'd like further information about the campaign, the player characters, or behind-the-scenes sneak peeks, follow us on either Twitter or our Tumblr website. Lastly, if you'd like to support the show, feel free to buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/backtothestory.